one more minute.
Yep.
Okay, Mayor, ready whenever you are.
Okay. I hereby call the Des Moines City Council regular meeting for February 24th into order. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Buxton for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the United
of the United
States
States
of
of
America
America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all. Thank you, Councilmember Deputy Mayor Buxton, my mistake. Are there any let's do a roll call real quick. Let the record reflect that all 6 members of the council are here and present for the meeting. And are there any correspondence?
Thank you, Mayor. There are no correspondence, but we have received written public comment. The following for the Masonic home: Melinda Keane, Diego Llort, Danna Smith, and Jolene Robert. The following support Yoshiko Grace Matsui for the open council seat: Joan Baily, David Denino, Doreen Harper, Terri Lindeke, Toni Mills, Saundra Mock, Susan White, Sheila Brush, Steve Edmonston, Rick Johnson, Carol Stream, Joshua Lee, Jamie Wagner, and Alena Rogers. The following support Priscilla Vargas for the open council seat: Deborah Gary, Scott Gary, and Andrew Gary. And the following support Tad Doviak for the open council seat: David and Carrie Litowitz, Bob Bergenheyer, and Patricio Mendoza. And Mayor, Patricio and Alena did sign up, say they wanted to speak, but they're not admitted to the meeting yet. So that's why I read their comment into the record. And that concludes public comment, Mayor.
Okay, so to clarify, they are not present to be able to make public comment?
Alena's coming in right now, Mayor.
Okay. All right. I'll wait till she's here and then,
Looks like she's on.
okay. Before we begin on public comment, I would like to just remind those participants that any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who become boisterous, threatening, or personally abusive while addressing the council will be muted and removed from the meeting. You will have 3 minutes to speak. With that, I yield the floor to Alena Rogers. Alena, I believe you're muted and your camera's not working.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
Alena, you have the floor for 3 minutes.
Ah, got you.
We can hear
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
My name is Alena Rogers. I live in Des Moines, and I am here to ask you to vote for Yoshiko for position 6. She is the most qualified. We've already had a round with Vic. Thank you very much for stepping up again, but no, thank you. Yoshiko has what we need up there. And I'm also here to ask the council not only to vote for Yoshiko, but I'm going to ask you to do your jobs, which is watch the city manager. And you haven't been watching him close enough. Mayor Mahoney, I remember what you said to me in the garden that day. I've never told another soul I honor what you told me. I'm not going to hold you to it, but I will hold you to this. Do the job of overseeing the city manager, who is a tyrant and has been hurting people. I asked the entire council, Tracy, I heard that he abuses you. I don't know if that's true, but taking that is not how you empower women. Summon up those giant ovaries I know you have and watch that man. Jeremy, I don't know. I didn't even know you were still here. I hope that you're
Elena,
watching.
I have to interject.
No, you may not. This is my time. I'm going to reclaim my time. This is my time. Hi, this is my time. You can respond.
Please mute Alena, please, from the meeting. Thank you.
Hi, nope, this is my time. I'm going to reclaim my time.
Please take her out of the meeting.
You're not going to
Apologize to our
silence me.
residents.
You're not going to silence me.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on, is there a city manager's report tonight?
Mayor, there is no city manager report tonight.
All right. Thank you, Michael. All right, with that, we'll go on to the new business, which I want to go over the guidelines of tonight's meeting and the future, just to remind the public about that, a lot of the particulars here. So basically, I just wanted to say that council and candidates can continue to meet and discuss the position from now through Thursday, March 3rd at 5 p.m. For tonight's meeting, I want to make one clarification. One of the requirements we asked was that applicants file a personal finance affairs statement with the Public Disclosures Commission, but this was not required in the packet of information. Those can be reviewed on the PDC website at www.pdc.wa.gov. Candidates will have 7 minutes to answer the 3 questions. Those 3 questions are: what qualifications experience do you have that has prepared you to be a council member for the city of Des Moines? What do you hope to accomplish if appointed? What is your vision for Des Moines? As agreed upon on the prior meeting of February 10th, there will be no questions from council. I did an informal drawing. The order will be Yoshiko Grace Matsui, Tad Doviak, Priscilla Vargas, and Vic Pennington in that order. Please note that Zoom attendees will not interact with one another. They join in listening only mode until it is their turn to address the city council meeting. That can also be viewed live on Comcast channel 21, 321, or the city's YouTube channel. After this meeting, public comment can be made through the website, or you will have the ability to make public comment on the March 3rd meeting prior to the vote taking place for the selection of the new member of the council. By participating, if you wish to participate in person and make public comments, you'll need to complete the comment form with the city no later than 4 p.m. and let Bonnie, our city clerk, know that you wish to do a public comment. After we hear those public comments, the council will have that opportunity to make their comments about their considerations, their determinations, their observations as they see fit, and then we will call for a vote of the council for that, for the selection or reappointment of a council member. In the case we lack a majority or we have a tie, we will go into an executive session. We'll have that executive session. Once that's completed, we will reconvene and we will take another vote. If we still have any kind of tie or lack of a majority, we will set a new vote as one of the first new orders of business on March 10th. With that, I'm going to yield the floor to Yoshiko Grace Matsui, and you have 7 minutes.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the council members here who have given quite a bit of their time and commitment to our community. My name is Yoshiko Grace Matsui. I grew up in Seattle. So when my sister moved to Des Moines in the early 2000s and I was looking to buy my first house, I decided to move in next door. It was a great opportunity to be so close to my sister and her 3 young daughters. I wanted to be part of a diverse, safe community with fun things to do. I've worked as a public servant for 10 years, and I have an additional 10 years of experience working in colleges and universities. making me very familiar with the needs and benefits of a diverse community, and especially the concerns of young people entering the workforce. I'm currently a public safety exams administrator for the city of Seattle, and I support the hiring goals of both the fire and police departments. I work closely with multiple stakeholders, including the Office of the Mayor, the Fire and Police Departments, the Civil Service Commissions, and our Local 27 union. I've developed and implemented entry-level and promotional examinations in accordance with state law, the municipal code, and civil service rules. I've provided analysis of legislative House and Senate bills that may potentially impact city operations. A city council member must be able to review existing laws and policies and balance compliance with emerging needs. I have held ongoing feedback sessions with affinity groups such as the Black Firefighters Association and the Women's Alliance to provide data and analysis on the firefighter hiring process. This ensures transparency and accountability to changes in the testing process. My job is tremendously rewarding, especially supporting a workforce that reflects the racial diversity of our communities. My experience working in government means that I can hit the ground running for the residents of Des Moines. In my prior career in higher education, I provided individual and group support for college students through advising and activities, especially to marginalized groups like BIPOC, LGBTQA, and transfer students. I've held student life positions at the University of Puget Sound, the University of Southern California, and Scripps College. The demanding work of a city council member requires us to listen closely to the concerns, particularly of underserved or underrepresented residents, and propose programs and services that reflect that they have been heard. I ran for the position of King County Water District number 54 Commissioner in 2015 because I felt I could serve my community. I've been selected by my peers as the board president 3 times and been recognized for helping the district assess an array of concerns and prioritize issues. Under my leadership, we've had some great accomplishments, including partnering with the city of Des Moines to pave portions of 8th Avenue after replacement of a water main, reducing debt and liabilities through consolidation and refinancing, establishing a 5-year rates water plan, revising the 10-year water system plan, and funding and supporting a new asset management system. These accomplishments have put the district in a more financially stable position, allowing us to proactively address capital projects. I've been a volunteer for the Des Moines Food Bank, the Des Moines Legacy Foundation, and a member of North Hill Community Club. Last fall, I was asked to organize a city council candidate forum online for the 4 city council races, which I did with the help of Jamie Quinn Wagner. And this year, I'm organizing a community blood drive with Scott and Susan Sparrowhawk. There's a great opportunity for the new council member to make an impact in Des Moines. People are concerned about feeling like this is a safe area. Talking to residents while I was campaigning, I spoke to a mom who shared with me that 16th Avenue does not feel safe to walk on with her son. Even in the school zone, drivers would get impatient and tear down the turning lane at a high speed. As a city council member, I would look for ways to address this issue through environmental design at the intersection of 16th and South 272nd Street. We have all seen and felt an uptick in violent crime and property crimes. We must do whatever we can to increase the safety of our neighborhoods. I'll advocate for more emphasis on community policing and crime reduction, which is a pillar of the 21st century policing strategies. When I was doorbelling in North Des Moines off of 2nd Avenue, I spoke with some grandparents about the need for more activities for young people. In a time of disruption of our school systems, we agreed that in-person recreation activities are vital for the social development of kids. As a council member, I would push for more youth activities and a return of club chaos. The level of inflation and a lack of new business opportunities puts our community at risk of slow economic growth. That's why it's imperative to have thoughtful development of the Marina District. As I spoke with you all one-on-one, I voiced my support for the development of what is the single most important asset in Des Moines. We need action to move forward on the development of the Marina. We're at a crossroads, and I heard Mayor Mahoney say this to me, of whether Des Moines will continue to be a hidden gem seaside town or further develop an economic engine that will lead to the growth of prosperity among all residents. The development of the Marina can be that engine. City council members have the obligation to listen to all residents and lead the legislative branch to be aligned with the mission and a vision of a safer, more vibrant Des Moines. My experience as a young professional buying my first home is being reflected in a growing trend here. Our city has become more diverse, with over 43% of our population being people of color, and we must compete to attract and retain growing families. I believe that the most residents in Des Moines are looking for a community that is family friendly, has options for recreation, whether that's restaurants, parks, or events, and continues to be a great place to live. I would bring my accumulated skills from working in government and higher education to cooperating with the whole council to set a course for Des Moines that incorporates the viewpoints of the residents. I would like to realize a safer, more vibrant Des Moines and a government that is more visible, that can earn residents' trust and know that it's working for them. A council that is reflective of the diversity in our community and attracts new businesses, visitors, and has that family-friendly atmosphere. That's the Des Moines I experienced moving here, and that's the experience I want to share with others. I cut out some of the parts about me personally, but I want you to know I still live next door to my sister with my wife, Sheila, my dad, Earl, and 3 rescue dogs. And it's been a pleasure being able to talk to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoshiko. Appreciate your time. Well said. All right. Moving on, the next one I'll be yielding the floor to is Tad Doviak.
Good evening, everyone. I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Not going to repeat all the answers that I submitted on my application. I hope I can add to a little bit by filling in some of the details. Under qualifications and experience, the first thing I want to say is that I'm a people person. Relationship building is the cornerstone of getting things done. If you can't or won't build relationships with the people who can help you help the city of Des Moines, then there's no point in even seeking to serve on the city council. I didn't know any of you 6 or 7 years ago when I got really involved in the greater community. Since then, I've gotten to know each of you, some better than others. I've also built relationships with others in the community. One of my main duties in running IT departments in my career is to maintain relationships with vendors and my coworkers. I understand the value of building and maintaining vital business relationships. It's how things get done and get done well. It turns out that I'm pretty good at doing just that. I want to bring that to the city council to address the things I hope to accomplish. First and foremost, I hope that I can meet and exceed the expectations of the community. I laid out a whole list of things that I would like to work on in my written response. I stand by those goals. My thought process can be explained with a little sports analogy. I'm a soccer referee. One of the guiding principles that referees use in interpreting the laws of the game is, what does the game expect? In other words, how can you apply a rule in a way that is expected by the spirit of the game? This guidance is there to help keep referees from blowing the whistle just because they have a whistle to blow. As a city council member, I would seek to make decisions based on, what does the city expect? What is the best interpretation of a situation or decision that I need to make in order to foster what is best for the city? That sometimes will require thinking outside the box or working with a person or group that might not make sense at first. But I'm not afraid to try new things or listen to new ideas if it helps the community I live in with my family be the best that it can be. And my vision for Des Moines is a city where every person is valued and respected and has the opportunity to live and grow and become the best person they can be here. From the children of our community who we need to support and nurture, to the adults who live and work here and want just a safe place to live, work, shop, and play, to the senior citizens who have left their working lives behind and just want to spend their retirement in a beautiful city where they can enjoy themselves and their children and their grandchildren. The city of Des Moines is here for all of them, and it should continue to provide opportunities for anyone who wants to be a positive part of the community. And that's the Des Moines that I would like to see. I hope that helps fill in some of the things that weren't laid out in my written application, and I really appreciate the time and opportunity to speak to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tad. Well spoken as well. We really appreciate your efforts in the community as well. All right, moving on, I'm going to yield the floor to Priscilla Vargas. Priscilla, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to apply for the council vacancy. It was quite an experience to run for city council. Met a lot of wonderful people and learned a lot about the individuals that I met and the members of the public, and also just the process that is underway to really benefit more and more within the city, what we all want to see, which is growth and success. And I really have to say that my interest has always been to make the decision that would be in the best interest of the city of Des Moines. And so with that, I really no longer want to be considered for the city council vacancy. But what I want to say is that you have a really talented, experienced person amongst this group, and that's Vic Pennington. Vic, I think, is the best person for the job. And I really feel like with his background and his experiences, we really don't have the same qualities to offer. So I'm not going to go through a list of the 3 questions. I want to just have the opportunity to really encourage everybody on the council to seriously consider Vic. He's a pleasure to know and someone that I think would really help the city over the next 2 years. So with that, again, thank you. Thank you for your time, and I'll give Vic the floor.
Thank you, Priscilla. For the record,
welcome.
You're removing your name from consideration for the council
Yes.
position. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and all you've done too, as well as in the community, and well spoken as well. Thank you. With that, I now open the floor to Mr. Vic Pennington.
Hey, well, thank you, and thank you to each of the candidates that put their name in the hat, and thank you, Priscilla, for an unexpected endorsement. So, the city's at a pretty big crossroads here. We've been at several crossroads, and we've reached several milestones. We've worked through some time that have been really difficult in terms of sustainability, and we need to continue to always monitor that. You know, we've got revenue streams that are fragile. We've got revenue streams that are pretty solid. Other than Councilmember Nutting, there's no other council member that was on the council when we were within $750,000 of going bankrupt. And so we did a lot of work to build that up and set it up for the future. And we have a really sustainable city, but we need to continue to ensure that happens. And that happens through economic development. That happens through activating areas up on the highway in terms of development there. We need to really ensure that, because we all want really good things for our city. We want great parks, we want great senior services, we want a police department that is second to none. We want all of these great things. And we all strive for that. And I think that's a common theme that I've heard amongst several of the candidates here. But that takes a lot of work to get that. And so we have to ensure that we have the ability to continue to have the services that our citizens are expecting. And that's on the council. That's on us to make sure that happens. And it's on us to make sure that we do it in a way that isn't going to always go out for a levy lid lift or go out for bonds or that, because that's a big burden on our taxpayers. So we need to look at that and work through that. Obviously, I've been on council before. I've been elected to the Water District 54 board, and I think Yoshiko, you were the one that replaced me on the board in that position, but in 2015, and that's great. You've continued with good work with the water district, and and I've been elected to council twice. I stepped down to take the fire chief's job for a couple of years, and I found myself now in an opportunity to be able to give back if that's the desire of the council. I've got 47 years in a government background, delivering both emergency and operational services to the cities of Des Moines, Federal Way, areas of unincorporated King County, part of Normandy Park, and the West Hill of Auburn. I understand and I have relationships across the region and across the state, and those are important. And this council is a young council, and I say that with all the respect in the world. But there's a big learning curve here, and we're at a point where I've decided to offer, if you so desire, my experience and bring it back to the council. And other than Councilmember Nutting, that has been through like some of the really tough times I spoke of before, those times could be ahead of us. But and I can also offer some history in the city, some history in council decisions, history in policy decisions, and a working relationship that we have with staff, our labor groups, our community partners, our other government agencies. So those are some things that I would be willing to come back and help and assist with. Probably one of the proudest things that my accomplishments is the $1.7 million structural deficit that as a leadership member of the council, we worked with the then city manager, assistant city manager Matthias and Mayor Pina to resolve that and reduce that, and that was in an 11-month period. So again, I'll bring those experiences, and I'll be glad to do that. And now the question about what I hope to accomplish, and really, it's to continue to provide stewardship to essential policies that offer the most benefit to the community. And in addition to the council, that brings some stability to our folks that are looking to invest in the city. So this is an extremely critical period of time, and I would be, again, honored to be able to offer that to you. My vision, we all have visions of what we'd like to see in the city and where we'd like to see it go, but really it should be a community shared vision. It needs to be a vision that people have come to the council and shared through various outreaches to the community. We did that with the marina, and we had several meetings with that. And so then council needs to look at that. We need to look at that with city staff, and we need to make sure that those are realistic, that they're legal, they're affordable, and what kind of benefit are they going to bring to all of the community as a whole. And so that's really, answers the question 3. And then what I'd like to also end with, and I know that there's a concern about perhaps a person of color on the council, that's a representative of our LGBTQ BIPOC communities. And, our nation is really at a crossroads here. And in 2019, when I was selected to be the fire chief beginning in 2020, before that, I had worked in training and for about 20 years. I was the ops chief prior to that, but I'd never been in a position where I could influence our hiring processes, where I could influence how we do business and how we bring people into the fire service. And so as the incoming fire chief, I went to Harvard to the Kennedy School, and I learned about strategies for building and leading diverse organizations. And what that has done is it has worked across King County with the King County chiefs, and has specifically worked in the South End. And I started a program in our department, and it's being modeled now. We've changed the way we recruit. We changed our testing processes. So we've taken away the barriers in terms of cost. We have mentoring programs for prospective recruits, and we reach out to our communities. But what is equally important is I started the program in our organization, and it continues today, to teach our current leadership and our workforce about diversity, equity, and inclusions and unseen bias. And they're in the middle of a program to do that. And I'm very proud that this is a model, and Representative Jesse Johnson sponsored a budget initially for $175,000 that it's in the proposed budget for the state for workforce development for South King Fire and Rescue and our neighboring agencies that follow that model. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Appreciate all you've done for the community as well, and appreciate you for your time and commitment. With that ends the portion of our question and answer period of the meeting. And we will be going to, now for the public, just to remind you, you have the rest of the remaining week to send in through our city website contact notification process any comments you have, or you can sign up for public comment at the March 3rd meeting that begins at 5 p.m. With that being done, that will conclude the interview process, and I thank all 4 of you for your time. As members of the council, I can say this, that it is a stretch. You put yourself out in a public forum, and we really appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. You're all great members of the community, and the choices will be difficult. With that being said, we're going to move on to board and committee reports. I'm going to request of the council that if discussing particular council members or observations at this particular meeting is something I'd like you to steer away from. The reason why is you're going to have an opportunity at the March 3rd meeting to bring those points up. So with that being said, I'm going to yield the floor to Mr. Harry Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, we've gotten off to a stalled or a slow start this year, frankly, because this has consumed a lot of our time. It's the appointment process. And I don't have any board or committee reports to make yet. I will continue to be at the quarter deck on Saturdays from 10 to noon. If anybody wants to show up and talk to me about what they think is important about the candidates, or to give me a specific pitch for a candidate. I already have one person I know that's coming by, so I invite anybody that wants to come and talk to me about it, because I want to know what's important to you. And I think that's what's important. So please come down and join me. And with that, I don't have anything further to share.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Steinmetz. With that, I yield the floor to Councilmember Oxiger.
I also have no board or committee reports because we haven't established committees yet. But I have been out, online checking what's going on, and we'll have more later. I just would like to have a point of clarification, is that I've had several people contact me about the viability of applications. Do we have a determination of whether or not all of the applications are viable?
I'm going to yield to our city attorney or city clerk for that.
What do you mean by viable?
That all of the requirements have been met?
We believe so. Yes.
Okay. That includes the filing of financial statements?
Well, I'll defer to the city clerk on that. Under state law, financial statements are required to be filed 2 weeks after appointment within that period. I'm not aware of what's actually been filed at this point.
Okay, I believe our application required the filing of financial report.
I can look into that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else, Councilmember Oxiger?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right. With that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Nutty.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank all 4 applicants for coming forward today and speaking with us and taking time. I really do appreciate that, and I look forward to the coming week. I have been out of town, and I will do my best to get in touch with everybody. So I do really appreciate it. I've been through the process. I know how it is. So thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank our Public Works Department. In the last couple of weeks, the inclement weather, sorry, just being able to get around town, and you can always tell where Des Moines stops and every other city begins, because our roads are plowed, they're de-iced, their brines put down, and they do a great job. So they don't get enough accolades. So thank you, Public Works, for all you do, keeping us safe. And no board and committee reports again. Look forward to getting that going. So thank you all very much. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Nutting. With that, I yield the floor to Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. So to the public, I just wanted to tell you that the City Council does receive all of your emails as they come in. I know this because it did not happen when I first took office. Back then, we'd get this big bundle right before the meeting, and it was ridiculous, but that's changed, and we do see your comments. I've read every word, and thank you for submitting them. And I too want to thank the 4 applicants who stepped up. Thank you. But I have to say I'm slightly disappointed that there weren't more people, because the 4 applicants are all people who have run for and held office. And yeah, I'd like to see more people get into the process. I've received a number of letters about best qualified, and I got to be honest here, the only qualified applicant is actually Mr. Pennington. That doesn't mean he's my choice. It just means that he's the only one who can truly understand the job. There's this volunteer sales pitch we've had here that may have been fine in 1959, okay, with 2,000 people, but we're now 33,000 people. Our budget is 117 million. It's no joke. And it's problematic because the job really has no requirements. There's like no exam. All you have to do is show up for the main meetings, and that's it. We've trained everybody to think that basically, yeah, almost anybody can do this. And I try to talk to the public, and it's embarrassing for both of us because you understand so little about the job. Forget good or bad. You honestly can't see when misconduct occurs. So I just come off as a scold. We basically train candidates that they have no reason to be working with people of expertise or even to speak about ethics. Why should they? You don't know the rules. They don't know the rules. The only thing that most people seem to want is getting along and being civil. It's like with kids, so long as they're quiet, everything must be going okay. And it's ridiculous given the stakes and the expertise on issues like the marina or the airport. The marina alone is 50 million just for the docks, okay? And everyone you will talk to has a special interest and knows a lot more about the subject than you do. Do you really think you're going to come in cold and change minds armed with your common sense and civility? I mean, seriously. Several people wrote to say that they wanted someone who would carry on as Anthony Martinelli, in some ways. Whatever else one might say about position 6, he rightly objected passionately to the 2020 process. And this one is even worse. This time I was the lone CM to object, outvoted 5-1. That's not something you compromise on. You either voted for fairness or you didn't. And I was disappointed to not hear anybody speak about that. Since so few people apply or run, it would be a lot better if we had some ways to make for better candidates, and we don't. If Des Moines really wants change, it must put forward candidates that are willing to learn and to speak up and vote on principle. You, the public, must stop acting like disagreement is some nasty word.
Councilmember Harris, can I have you wrap up your thoughts, please?
People constantly wonder why DM is the way it is. It's because people decided to make it that way. It could be better, but it can't get there until you start expecting candidates that are willing to speak up and vote on principle.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Harris. With that, I move on to Deputy Mayor Buxton.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I join with my colleagues in great appreciation for all the people who put themselves out there to go through this process. And really just another opportunity to thank all the people who actually did that this last year. It's a strenuous, vulnerable, scary process that costs a lot of time and money. So hats off to anybody that goes through it. So thank you so much. Board and committee reports. I'm the liaison to the Farmers Market Board, and the farmers market planning is up and going. And we're definitely going to have some challenges because the work is still going to be continuing down there, but that's exciting work, right? And so I'm excited to have some fun at the farmers market and push through that challenge, for the sake of the betterment of this community. The whole thing is exciting. Looking forward to some fun, special days that are being planned. There's going to be a vibrant market all summer long. Looking forward to that. Hope I see you down there. I also attended a Regional Law, Safety, and Justice Committee meeting this week, and it's more of an informative committee, but it's a way to keep a little bit of an ear low to the ground about trends in public safety. So there was a presentation on a radar program. It's a collaborative co-responder model that's been piloted in 5 north cities, and radar stands for response, awareness, de-escalation, and referral. It's a behavioral health co-responder model, which we are piloting a co-responder model here. A lot of cities are. Some cities are doing it on their own. I think we are moving forward with collaboration in our city. So this model is kind of a wave of the future. In the north, they've been successful, but had some challenges. It's just beginning. The challenge is to communicate well across jurisdictions and taxing districts, like fire. If you got co-responders with fire, co-responders with police. So, and to make sure that there's safety for both the public and the responders and providers. So there's also an interesting program coming down the pike. It's called 988. Instead of dialing 911, you could dial, it's a state program, and that's moving forward. And in the future, that may end up being a hub for cities, the 988 model. But it's all in the beginning stages in all of our cities, really. Every city that's trying the behavioral health, mental health co-responder model. So, but it's moving forward everywhere. So as we move down the road, our city, our neighboring cities, there's going to be more and more data collected and lots of practice and experiences, things that worked, things that didn't. So it's kind of encouraging to see this all moving forward. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Buxton. I attended the skateboard meeting last Tuesday. We reviewed the scooter pilot, and then the PSRC gave a presentation on the regional transportation plan. Director McGurty gave a great presentation. It was very interesting about the future in our communities. I also attended the Senate Law and Justice Committee meeting on the February 21st and testified on behalf of the 1815 to curb some of the ways to sell catalytic converters. in my continued efforts to support that bill. And I was a observer on the START meeting last night. And obviously that'll come up in a later thing. I want to thank the candidates again for your entries, the gauntlet you go through. Many of you guys have gone through the election process as well, so you're very well aware that you put yourself out there. And I want to thank you. I disagree with Councilmember Harris. I think everybody has a qualification if they, and it's about the passion. This process was never going to be perfect, but it was the council approved process, considering the limitations of Zoom, to make it fair and equal. And that is what it was about. The vote was 5-1 on the process as it currently stood. And that is an agreement where the council agreed upon what would be done and the procedure would follow. If somebody dissents, they dissent, but that's it. It is the will of the council, and that was what's done here. So I appreciate your support in this regard, and I appreciate your time. With that, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Councilmember Nutting.
So moved.
And Councilmember Steinmetz. Second, I assume. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Seeing 6 votes for it. The next meeting will be Thursday at 5 p.m. on March 3rd. We will see you then. Have a great weekend and stay safe, everybody, and warm. Bye now.